Hey guys, Terrence from DegenDude here. I am going to show you how to make your own DegenDude. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I've tried to make this whole process as simple as can be to make it easy on everybody. But since you're watching this video, I'm just going to hide the instructions because we're basically going to go over it. And the long and short of the instructions is basically just so that making sure that when you guys save the final file, any of these layers that have the red colors, that those are not visible when you save your final PSD or the final JPEG or PNG, however you're choosing to save your files. But let me just turn those back on now so I can show you some things in detail. Now, the different elements of the character are right here. Obviously, you can see it's also labeled the head, the TV frame, the TV inset, the screen, the body, left and right arms, and then up at the top you have the left vents, buttons, and right vents. So that's basically all the parts that go into the DegenDude. And this top layer UV map is just a reference layer that you can turn on just to make sure that all your artwork is registering correctly. So for example, if you want to go in and edit, let's say the head, for example, let's go in here. First, you're going to click OK because it's going to say that any changes you make to this sub file is going to be reflected on the master file, and that's what we want. So first, let's go in here and we're going to make a let's just do a little brush here. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. And now I can do, let's see here, yeah. Paint that. And whatever I paint on here is going to appear on the master file. Now I'm just going to close this so that you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to say, yes, I want to save that. And now it's reflecting here on the master file. So say for instance I wanted to make sure that a particular line or part of the design that I made coincides exactly with, say, where the screen edge is. Then what I would do is I'd go back to my artwork. I'm going to click OK. Yes, I am going to commit those changes. And now on each one of the sections, you'll also notice that there's a UV, which basically shows the what the final position is for the artwork. You don't want to save your final artwork with that UV showing. This is only for reference. But say, for example, I want to do something like draw a line right on those lines. So sort of accenting the folds in the character's screen. It could be kind of cool. And let's do that over here as well. Now, when I do for my final save, I'm going to want to do that. I'm going to want to take that UV layer off so I don't make a mistake and save that in my artwork because that's not going to look great. Alright, so I think you get the idea, and I'm just going to close this layer so we can go down to the next thing. Oh wait, sorry, oops, I almost did it myself, see that? Okay, so now I'm going to close this layer. It's going to commit to the final top layer, and here we can see that yes, it does coincide as we planned with the exact folds on the monitor itself. And I can hide that layer and just look at the artwork again just to confirm that it's in the right place. Okay, so let's get into the two elements of the screen. So basically the outside green screen, which is not exactly the best terminology, but anyway, the green screen is the outwardmost section of the glass. So it's like literally the surface where the video is playing, if you should choose to submit a video. And the inset frame is what you would see if, for example, let's say I cut out a portion of the monitor. So let me say I just cut this out. And again, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to commit that layer. Now we can't see the effect that this is going to actually have in the final character, which is always a limitation here, but we could imagine that wherever the green artwork is here, and where it's missing, is where you will see the yellow underneath. So you could actually have, like, 2 layers of art on the screen, which could be a pretty cool thing. Or let's say if you're choosing to submit a video, let me show you some details about how that works too. Let me just pause for a second so I can undo the changes that I've made. I just undid those changes. Now I'm going to show you something about the video itself. So if you are submitting a video, I will position the video to maximize its visibility on the screen, but I just wanted to point out to you a sort of issue that it's gonna be there no matter how you slice it. So basically, if I take a video, it just touches the top of the screen, and now this double line here is where the screen starts to fold in behind the dude. So this is kind of like starts to become invisible here on the character. It's just sort of tucked underneath. But so this part is visible, and this, like I said, anything inside these 2 lines is visible in the final rendering. So you have to think about that when you're considering your video, because you're going to lose, obviously, these corners here. So whatever content it is you're choosing, make sure that the content is either sort of an all-over design, or it can play with a more of a focus on the center, so that the artwork is most visible in the middle. That's kind of just an important consideration to take into consideration while you're thinking about your video. So again, I'm undoing that UV layer before I save, and then I'm committing my artwork. Now, you wouldn't actually load your video file to this. You would send it to me separately, but we would work out the position, like I said, outside of this Photoshop file. And I think that's about all I wanted to cover. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, I think. If you have any questions, obviously you can just hit me up. I'm going to hide those layers again so that I don't see any of these little details, because those will ruin the design. And then what I'm going to do first is I'm going to save the whole Photoshop file, this way that no matter what you've done, how hard you've worked on this, you have a saved version of your Photoshop file, and I would save it as your name. So put your name in the front and save that. And now once it's saved, you know that you can make a copy, and if you want to save this as a lower res JPEG or PNG file, depending on your art, that's fine. And that might be easier for us to render. So that's about it. This is going to be great. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Creating your own little DegenDude is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really interesting to see how creative people get with it. And I'm excited to see what you do. So awesome. Thanks so much for participating. Let's do this. Let's fucking go.